Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Olympus Smite League. My name is Vivi, joined by Dr. Shrew as my co-commentator with Penguin Pimp on the spectating today. And we're bringing you an Athens division match between Warriors of Albion and Royal Jesters. Now, Warriors of Albion off to a pretty solid start so far, 2-1, but Jesters 0-3. Shrew, how do you think this matchup is going to play out between these two teams?
I think it should be a great one. I'm very surprised that the Royal Jesters are 0-3 so far. I think they have a ton of great players on their team. They might just have needed a little bit of time to kind of get warmed up this season. This could be the match where they kind of strike back and show their full potential.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I agree. It's kind of surprising. You look at this roster: Enice, Griff, Killcam, Kenny, Jehu, upgrade only. All five players that I think are fantastic at this game, and seeing the group of them five go be 0-3, kind of a shocker. But like you said, this could be the chance for them to get back into it with bands coming on the way here. Giannis, Kali, take away from the by Warriors of Albion, and then Thor and Robin from the Jesters.
Pretty standard bands so far. Gato Griff has a really good Kali, so I like that, knowing that the Warriors are aware of that, take that off the board. Plus, she's just in a good spot right now in general. The only one that kind of sticks out to me in this first little group of bands is this Giannis pick, or Giannis ban, I guess I should say. Giannis is in a decent spot right now, but not usually worthy of the first phase of bans. Might leave something open for either of these squads to pick up, notably the Martikris still available, the Jormungandr still available. There's definitely a lot of options out there for some good picks here early on.
Yeah, sure. You might know my personal thoughts on Giannis as a god. I think we've talked about it before. I think this god is heavily overrated in a lot of cases. I don't think he's bad. I just don't think he's as good as some players make him out to. But could be a target ban. But looks like the first pick is being hovered, and you mentioned the Jormungandr, a god that, well, Kaizo has played in support last season, but also right now very strong in that solo lane.
Yeah, I would be astounded if this went to support for Kaizo. He is such a solo lane menace at the moment. His lane clear is so good when they start that conduit gem into Chronos Pendant, or even anything into Chronos Pendant, just makes him so hard to deal with. He's got the safety of the World Serpent ultimate. It's a great first overall, but Martikris and Horus are the lock-ins for the Jesters. Two extremely strong picks as well.
Yeah, Martikris is just they never took quite a few times, but he still just does so much damage. It's crazy, and has that flexibility into that mid lane, meaning that Jesters have some wiggle room here. They can take a look at what they want, but Hunter on the other side locked in here, which is the Izanami and Athena, the duo lane locked in. How is this lane gonna look for these two gods in particular?
Pressure and pressure and pressure. No one outclears like Izanami does in the first couple levels. It's where she gains so much of her advantage, and then you pair that up with a taunt that'll come out of Kaizo on the Athena. Just going to be so hard to live in the dual lane if you're the Royal Jesters. They do have the Horus to match some of that pressure on the other side, and then regardless if it's this Martikris or another pick, it's still going to just be hard to outclear and keep up with the early game kind of pressure and lead that this Izanami should have.
Atlas wrapping out the top three from the Jesters. Now, not a god I was expecting to get picked pretty high here. Now, I don't think Atlas is bad right now, but if you would ask me to name like top three supports, I definitely want to put Atlas in that list. So a little bit surprising. I mean, granted, like I said, it's not terrible, but we'll have to see how where the rest of this Jester squad's gonna be going.
Yeah, especially since they had the Horus, I immediately assumed that was going to go to Jehu in the support role. It seems like this might be a Horus solo, a holo, I guess. I just created that name.
Holo.
It's going to be interesting. I think Atlas is in a pretty good spot, especially if you pick up War Flag. He can be so aggressive and just kind of walk at this Warriors team. We'll have to find out how it works out for him.
4 jungle bands between Albion and the Jesters here. Susano, Baka, Serket, and Alquan all taken away, which, limiting the jungle pool. Granted, Horus could go jungle here for Jesters. Athena could also go jungle for Warriors of Albion. They still have that flexibility as well. Granted, I think, I know it's a quote tank meta, but I think there are better picks than some of these more tanky picks in the jungle. We have been seeing primarily just those assassins, at least recently. But looks like Jesters decided we're going to put this Mark Horus in mid, and we're going to lock in this honor.
Yeah, I assume that will be the direction they go. There is a world. On her mid has been a thing in the past. I don't think it's anywhere near as good as the Martikers, but it's something to keep an eye out for just in case Killcam Kenny maybe has a pocket on her pick that he really likes to play. But on her Atlas, I think, will be that dual lane, but in all likelihood, which is quite a bit of kill potential as well. Doesn't have the lane clear to keep up with Itsunami and Athena, but will have the potential to kind of fight into the kill pressure, if nothing else, of the Warriors.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Albion could definitely just outclear, but Jesters, get that out of the scrap, throw them. Honor has a pillar and pills them to the wall into the pillar, whatever the heck. I mean, an Honor receiving some buffs in this 10.6 patch, that slow and that pillar getting 10% on each rank, so it's now 20 to 40, which is crazy at max rank. Like, just throwing out a pillar and you can barely move. It is so annoying. And of course, his base attack speed getting a slight increase, which on paper doesn't look like a much, but that really adds up, especially with his passive, increasing some of those protections from his spears. But Warriors of Albion looking to wrap up their draft here with an Ishtar and Habois hover. Now, Habois probably going to go into that jungle role, assuming that this Ishtar is going to be locked in, which leads the question, Izanami or Ishtar mid?
I mean, I would prefer neither, but I guess if they do end up locking into Ishtar, Itsunami would be the choice, especially with... Yeah, if X-Ball is the lock-in... Now I'm lost. I guess... Hang on. Alright, we can work through this. It's gotta be Itsunami mid, Xibalanque in the dual lane, and Chang'e jungle?
I got a very interesting take on how this is going to work out. Alright, hear me out. X-Ball jungle, Chang'e mid, and then Izanami in that ADC role. We have seen that X-Ball. I have seen it in my casual games a few times. I don't know if like a streamer or somebody has been running it, and that's why people are kind of, running it in my casual games. But it's a possibility. Granted, I don't like this at all. I think this is kind of silly. Granted, this team has always been one to kind of run these silly comps, so I'm not surprised they're not like extremely serious with their drafts. It's just kind of the Warriors of Albion, not stamp. I don't know what word I'm looking for necessarily. That's what makes them unique to the rest of the teams. Ratatasker, though, rounding out the Jesters squad. So true. Kind of dive into these comps for me.
So the Jesters comp I like a lot. I mean, you got the Martikers in mid. He's just going to be able to blow up the backliners once we get to that mid to late game period. Brings not the best early few levels, but once he has a couple items online, we'll be able to bring a lot. Horus in the solo lane should end up losing to the Jormungandr, but will be able to do just fine once that laning phase is over. We mentioned that the dual lane for the Jesters will be able to keep up with kill pressure, though it depends who's in that dual lane, which is still up in the air. And I like the Ratatosker last pick for Griff in that jungle. It's something they're very comfortable on. Seen him play quite a bit and has a lot of different build options. And I don't know what to make of this Albion team. I guess we're going to have to find out who goes where, and then that'll be able to kind of help me make my decision on how this draft is going to work. But I want to point out Baba Yaga, best mid in the game, bar none right now. Unpicked and unbanned in this entire game.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was looking at some of these and looking at the bans. I was like, there's a lot of gods that I'm generally surprised we didn't see. We didn't see Baba, like you mentioned. We didn't see the Discordia, who got some buffs in that respect. She did need a small nerf to her passive in the bonus update, but she's still very strong. And Rama, right now it feels like Rama and Hachi are kind of dominating that ADC role with Honor, Ishtar, and there's another one I can't think of. Oh no, but there's a fifth one that kind of hovers in that if Rama and Hachi are taken away, these are fine picks. So kind of surprised to see a lot of these strong picks. I mean, Thor is another. Never mind, Thor's banned. I I didn't see his little face over there.
This has been a crazy draft. I definitely understand missing that one because the Warriors have kind of thrown us for a loop here. But I think I have to give this one. Oh, we'll get to hop into game here and see who has gone where. It is the Chang'e jungle with the Itsunami in the mid lane.
No way. Oh, never mind. Wait. Okay, I think the Barticores and Honor are swapped to my knowledge, unless they are role swapping. Let's see where they go. Oh, okay. There we go. Just wanted to double check. Yeah, that is All right. Well, unfortunately, I was wrong. I was hoping for some spiciness with the Expo jungle, but I mean, I guess we're still getting spicy.
Jungle's not spicy.
Okay, we have seen this before, though, right? I mean, Expo jungle is like, ooh. China jungle is kind of just like, ooh, like not enough ooze there to be as spicy.
It's not a Carolina Reaper spicy, but it's just like Tapatio or something.
No, it's like jalapeno pepper spicy. That's
okay.
That's how I mean, that's not even spicy to some people, but anyway. So now that we know X-Ball's in this ADC role, we kind of talked about the lane pressure. How does this gonna look like now?
It's a little different, right? Because Itsunami has such intense pressure and clear, and X-Ball doesn't quite have that to the same degree. But you still have the Athena, and X-Ball does have a good amount of damage in the kit. So it should be a highly like fireworks intensive dual lane with lots of kill potential on either side. But the clear and the lane pressure might be just a bit more evened out than had it been an Itsunami over there instead.
Absolutely. And for those who are watching the stream, just kind of want to point out that this is not a pause. This is just unfortunately a thing called stasis mode. I don't actually remember exactly why it happens. I think it's something with the game, or again, not properly like loading. Something along those lines. Some technical nonsense. So should be back to it in a second, but we get to see little Goose wiggle for a little bit, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
My favorite skin in the game.
I've never seen Yorm in stasis mode. I like his little dance.
Right. All right. Well, while we have this quick moment, I like to do this with everybody in cast with. I wanna get your hottest smite take here while we wait for stasis mode to end.
Just my hottest smite take in general?
Yeah. It could be anything. It could be about game mode, an item, a god, whatever the heck, a skin. Just whatever your hottest smite take is.
I don't know if it's exactly the hottest, but the first one comes to mind is Emperor's Armor is the best item in the game. Like, bar none. I've been an Emp Armor simp for like 3 seasons now and just spam it anytime I'm in support.
So you must have really liked it when nobody was picking it up and it was getting buffed constantly.
Yeah. Yeah. And then after like a month after that happened, it became good, and I got to say that I knew it was good the whole time, even though I had been using it when it wasn't good.
Hey, you're like a hipster. You're just a cool guy. You were using it before it was meta. Yeah.
Exactly.
See, I have quite a few, but the one I'm going to share today is that I think for in terms of like skins, like tier 5 skins in general, is that Archon Thanatos is extremely overrated. It's not a bad skin, but it's definitely not super cool like everyone makes it out to be, in my opinion.
I think it's just so rare and hard to find. Like, it's hard to get now that it's like, grown to this level in people's eyes. Because it is a cool skin, but some of the newer tier 5s just have so much more detail in them.
That's my thing. If that skin came out nowadays, I'm sure it would be amazing. But it's just so clunky looking. Super. I hate how big it is.
Yeah,
it's so funky. The sound effects are a little annoying in my opinion, but there's, like I said, if it came out nowadays, I'm sure there's a lot of it would look a lot cleaner and everything. Speaking of rare smite skins, what really makes me mad is I used to be a PlayStation player before I started playing this on PC, and I had the barely Bacchus skin. So I bought that overpriced summer event thing back season 4, season 5, whatever it was. and I can't transfer my skins, so I don't get to be the bear anymore. I love that skin so much.
PlayStation diff. I started on Xbox, got to transfer over. You just picked the wrong console.
Well, listen, the wrong console to play Smite on, that's for sure. That PlayStation days were something, all right. But in this stasis mode is unfortunately taking quite a while. Not usually kind of picks up after a little bit.
Yeah, this is
Oh,
definitely
look at Rat.
he's he's just so excited to get to that red buff.
Yeah, we might if it doesn't pick up here pretty soon. I think we might just need to restart the the spectator. Looking at the starters, though, I want to
Yeah,
kind of Wow, we can talk. We can get back on track a little bit, right? I want to talk about the start coming from SM Specify the Tainted Steel into the Lost Artifact.
I
Not
like
what I was
this start.
expecting, but
There's not a ton of healing on the side of the Jesters. It's really just ionized on the Horus. That's going to be most of the like proper healing, but there is going to be self sustain. Like, well, I'm sure we'll see Killcam Kenny pick up that Soul Eater. We'll see the Devourer's Gauntlet for upgrade only, so that we'll get some use out of that. And Tainted Steel just kind of feels good on Yorm. Then you go into Lost Artifact to pick up the Chronos Pendant, as I mentioned on the desk, just to get that pressure. I don't mind that start. To me, it's the Ornate Arrow that got picked up in the mid lane for the Itsunami. Well, Gilded Arrow, excuse me, Ornate should probably be the upgrade. Crit has kind of just completely fallen out of favor. So opting for that one's a bit interesting, especially with the Carapace Relic shard first, instead of what we normally see out of like the Horn Shard or the Wing Shard for an Itsunami. It's an interesting start in the mid lane.
that would be the last chart I thought this season we would have gone to. Be
Yeah,
fair,
yeah.
that is I didn't even forget what that was even called because you never see it anymore. Like you said, it's pretty much primarily we just see the horn shard and the wind shard. Sometimes the horn shard, but and occasionally vision, but never that one. I feel like that one is could use a little love, but I guess moon jumping thinks otherwise. Moon jumping's like, no, let me show you the tech.
Yeah, moon jumping is cooking right now on this Itsunami mid pick, which is, I mean, there's a lot of things cooking about this. It's Itsunami mid, there's Gilded Arrow, there's Carapace Shard. Excited to see, if the stasis mode ever ends, or if this is purgatory. If it's not purgatory, I'm excited to see what moon jumping's going to do with it.
Yeah, we might just look at possibly just resetting here quick, or at least resetting the spectator. Just hopefully they kind of get this game moving. I, I never. Yeah, we'll just take a real quick break. We're gonna get this respectated, and hopefully we can see some action. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the stream. Sorry about those technical difficulties. If you are just joining us, we had some unfortunate stasis mode issues. Knock on wood, that we don't have those happen again. So, but kind of getting back to what we were talking about, we ended or not ended. Before the break, we were discussing this Izanami. You brought up the interesting shard choice and the interesting starter choice, and my brain is still so stuck on that, and I just want to know why. I'm super curious to see how this lane's even going to play out. I just
I have a hope.
Okay.
I hope that this Gilded Arrow is just for the gold, because they don't feel like they need the sustain or anything that would come from a Death's Toll or a Leather Cowl, and will instead just use the gold to try and snowball, and it will get sold at level 20, and there won't be any crit in the build. That's my hope for where this goes, because I don't know if crit is going to be the choice right now with how good Spectral is. Easy to build, it feels so great, it has the aura, it does so much that I wouldn't even mind seeing it on Jehu and Ionized if they both picked it up. So I hope that it's literally just trying to snowball some gold in the early game.
You know what? That is fair. Obviously, by doing this, Izanami, who has incredible clear, we kind of talked about that earlier, thinking it was going to go in that duo lane. The incredible clear is going to help Izanami. If Izanami is just looking to play this farm game, Jesters don't have much of an answer.
Yeah, it also, I mean, Gilded Arrow gives that basic attack damage increase, so it'll make even more damage happen, make the clear even better as we get stuck in the same stasis mode as before with Izanami in the air. Excited to be in this stasis mode, I think.
Yeah. Moon jumping is currently moon jumping. Very unfortunate, though, that at the exact same time as before, 16 seconds. Is it possible to fast forward past this, or...
I don't think you can fast forward out of stasis mode. It's just frozen when it goes into that.
I have witnessed quite a lot of stasis mode in my casting career, but I have never witnessed one getting stuck for this long. So, oh no. Well, hopefully the game isn't completely scuffed at this point.
Yeah, I really want to see how this Warriors team, works, how they play it out, because there's some could be some very fun things that come out of it.
Maybe some. Yeah, I'm not so. Can you not even pause it or anything either? Is it just stuck? Oh, okay. I don't know if that does anything. No. I'm for it. Well, Shrew, I'm gonna blame you. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's.
Oh. Hey, we're fine.
Signs
No, we went backwards. Okay. No. I saw the 21. I was like, we made it. All right, we're gonna watch the clear happen again. This is a good time to analyze their clear efficiency here.
Yeah, Yorm starting the 1 is the right choice on the Yorm and Gunner. We got the Izanami clear. They're very quick. Good clear coming out of both of them. That might be all the action we get.
Yeah. we could just keep analyzing everybody's
the start over and over from every perspective.
Yeah. I think we can get a lot of it's done on analysis. That's the word, not analysis. Oh, Jesus. Possibly. Yeah, see, true. You start the 1 and not the 2. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, background knowledge for everybody else. I played Yorm solo the day and started the 2, thinking it was the better call, and the clear is not good. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. And it definitely wasn't also my fault for playing Morgan and having awful level 1 clear. That's okay. Yeah, this is super unfortunate.
Yeah, I suppose we can cut to a break again and hopefully figure out how to fix this, and so we can actually get into game and see what happens here.
Yeah. I think that's probably what we're going to have to do, unfortunately. I mean, I know people probably want our analysis on every single clear perspective, but unfortunately, I might have to wait to another day. You're going to go to another break. We are going to see if we can maybe figure this out and I mean, worst case scenario, I guess we'll hopefully see if game 2 works. But um, yeah, hopefully we'll see you guys soon. Hello, everybody. Unfortunately, game one is kind of scuffed. We can't get past 16 seconds. Stasis mode wins this round, but we will be attempting to cast game number two. So we will be taking a short break, waiting for them to kind of finish their game one. In the meantime, for this quick few seconds, take a look at the best Chiron skin. All right. But yeah, so hey, stay around. We'll be back shortly. And we apologize for the technical difficulties. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Olympus Smite League. Unfortunately, we did miss game one due to some technical difficulties, but a little update, and we'll kind of go into more discussion. We tuned into one of the player streams, kind of watch the last part of the game, but whereas Albion did win game number one with that funky draft of theirs. But yeah, my name's Vivi, joined by Dr. Shrew with Penguin Pip on the spectator. Oh boy, it's weird because usually I want to bring up like what happened last game, but we barely got to catch any of it, and we didn't even stream it here. So
Yeah, we did, like you said, we got to catch a little bit of it. Warriors did win the last few fights pretty handedly, at least seen from the perspective we got. And they were the ones that had that Jormungandr, but it seems like with them banning it away, they don't want to lose out to it for first pick going the way of the Jesters, so instead they'll ban it away.
yeah, from the little bit we did get to see, we watched it from Grip's perspective, and kind of how a lot of those late team fights played out was Griff ulted in as Rat and just got Chung ulted every time, and
Yeah.
they get a chance to play. It was very unfortunate. Very good reaction on the side of Warriors Albion too. It looked like the game was fairly even at the point when we tuned in around the 30-minute mark, but like you said, true, those last few fights just kind of being dominated by this Warriors Albion squad.
Yeah, and Batty was at 12-2 when we saw the tab screen for a moment on the Gibalanque. So the sub really stepping up and even getting a respect ban out of the Jesters here.
Yeah, I mean, for good reason. Interesting to see that. Oh, my mistake. They had Athena last game. Never mind. So I thought Jesters were banning away from them having it, but no, it was actually Warriors Albion had it. So banning away that duo lane seemed to give them quite a bit of trouble with. But now bans are taken out here, and Marty Core's first pick for the Jesters again, I believe.
Yeah, Killcam Kenny did pilot that in game one. Didn't work out for him, but a very strong pick over there for the Jesters that can bring a lot. Even if it didn't work one time, that does not mean it will not work in the future. So I like seeing them sticking to their guns. You know, don't let one loss kind of take you off your game plan, continuing to just go with what they know.
Yeah, I mean, interesting though. We see this Hachiman hover who made it through the picks and bans. I mean, just opting to target ban two picks instead of banning some of these more meta picks. And well, in turn, they get the Hachiman, but then they get the Alquan. My goodness, sure, just take it away. Every time I see this pick so high, I'm just left speechless.
It is interesting. I mean, executes are in a good spot right now with how tanky everybody's been building, so it's always nice to have that. And I would immediately assume this would go to dashboard in the jungle, but you did mention off camera to me that this went support last time the Albions were getting their games casted on here. So I won't put my cards on the table. I won't know. I'm not going to try and guess where this Ao Kwang is going. Should be in the jungle, and if it is, can bring a lot of impact. But if it goes somewhere else, we'll have to find out how it ends up working out for him.
Yeah, I mean, so for those who don't know, week one, he was casting the Warriors of Albion versus Doing Okay game, and we saw this Alquan in game number one go into the support role. My co-catch at the time, Halanu, was kind of also kind of shocked. He did mention, though, and I agreed with him, that solo Alquan is a viable option as well. Kind of a little bit niche, but something that is on the table. But it's just, I can't believe I'm going to say that Alquan support is also on the table, but this could be a triple flex pick for this team. But anyway, Jesters rounding out their top three here with the Ganesh tier, both very strong tanks in this current meta.
Yeah, Jesters getting away with quite the draft over here. Marticorus, Ganesh, and Tyr is an extremely strong top three. Their Tyr out of the solo after the buffs in 10.5 has just been a menace. Can bring a lot. Ganesh has been seen so much more play at all different levels because of just how strong that Ohm is, being able to silence people out. You have a good root, and Dharmic Pillars can just absolutely shred protections and turn a fight. So I like this top three. With the Warriors locking in the Kamazots, it's another flex pick. I would imagine it goes into the jungle, but I also would say that about the Ao Kwang. So we're still kind of left guessing where this Warriors draft's going to go.
Yeah, Kamazots, he's had quite an interesting history. He used to be a top solo laner in many different metas. But more recently, I think, last season or two, he's felt better in that jungle role, in my opinion. Still a solo option. Obviously, with just the amount of healing he has in that kit, that sustain really does help him handle a lot of these lane matchups. But personally, I mean, but like you said, I believe both Alquan and Kamazaj are better in their jungle roles. So one of these is definitely not going there. And like I said, Alquan support is still up, but fingers crossed we don't have to see that, because that was a that was quite an interesting matchup.
It would be a choice if that's where they want to go. It seems like the Jesters are not believing this is an Alquang support as they take away that Terra, which I think is a good ban. The Morrigan ban, though, kind of surprising me a little bit. I don't know if that's a moon jumping special, but she hasn't quite been in the best of spots. She obviously still has that Changeling ultimate to turn into a god that might be better than her, but it's interesting that they choose to take that away.
I see the Loki hover, and it's not a hover. It's a lock-in. All right, so now we got 3 junglers. So Alquan support mate is most likely a viable thing right now. Unless that is going to be mid, or one of the assassins maybe mid, which actually I could possibly see like Kamazotz possibly playing that role. Kamazotz has he's got a decent amount of burst to him, so he's able to at least kind of play like a mage. But the problem is he's just the laning phase is not. Yes, you have to kind of step up to really clear those waves, and against a Marty Chorus, that's not exactly the easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. This is definitely a very silly comp coming out of Warriors of Albion. But then you look at Jesters here, who lock in Earl on Shen, who is risen back to top of the jungle meta, and then Hoi, who, haven't seen in a very long time in a competitive setting, but did receive some nice buffs in that 10.6 patch. That base damage on that Ricochet going up to, I believe, 90 to 290, I believe, is the change. Mm-hmm. And you got to remember that also means that those bounce damage is going to be increased even more. So, his clear's a little better, and especially if you're good with those bounces, he is quite a threat. So it's fun to see him finally get some spotlight here.
Yeah, I feel like Hoagi's kind of been sleeper OP for a little bit. I'm excited to see how it will be piloted in the hands of upgrade only. Because as you mentioned, that first ability can do so much damage. You have the knock up if you jump on someone while you have the 2 on them. The sun's raining down in a team fight can really just pour out damage and turn things in their favor. And I mean, if you get trapped in Dharmic pillars and then the suns start raining down on you, you have nowhere to go. And that could absolutely blow up anybody on this Warriors of Albion team. So I like this draft out of the Jesters. And I'm doing everything I can not to mention the last hover coming out of the Warriors right now.
If you pretend it's not there, it doesn't happen. Okay, all right, there we go. That is, the problem is I have a weird feeling that's not support, but yeah. The question, see, this is the problem, right? Where the heck is everyone going on Warriors Albion? I kind of want to get your your insights, Drew, to where you possibly think this lineup's going to end up.
If I had to make a decision, it's the easy one's Hachiman in the ADC, right? Hachiman carry. That's got to be the call. If he's anywhere else, then I don't know. But I would say it's Hachiman and Ares in the dual lane. You throw, I think Kamazotz probably would be the best mid laner into that lane. You have the Alquang jungle, and then Loki solo does kind of work as well. So that would probably be the easiest way to go about it. But when you lock in triple assassin, Ares, and Hachiman, there's no real way of knowing where anything's going to end up.
Yeah, that is one of those things that if you load into like a ranked game, right? Or you load into a game where you don't know the players, it's hard to predict who the heck you're even going to be laning against.
Mm-hmm.
So. Granted, you probably have an idea just because in this league, you obviously know the players, you know what roles they play, and they could possibly be switching it up, but I don't know that that's gonna be very interesting to see how they use it. But on the other hand, Jesters, though, very powerful comp. I mean, 4 of the, I would say, top picks in their respective roles being picked is definitely something that Warriors Albion gotta be scared of, but also, I hate to use this word because I don't want to take away from the skill that it takes to kind of to win. But a very cheese comp coming out of Warriors Albion might throw Jesters off a bit.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of burst damage coming out of this Warriors comp. Triple Assassin, and then you add in the Ares pull. If you get caught by that, it's going to be so hard to survive against this team. But I feel like the Jesters have drafted very well and should be able to stand up to what's coming out of this Warriors squad. The only thing that kind of worries me a little bit is they have drafted a 4 physical comp, which will make it easier for this Warriors team to kind of build tankier against them. Won't have to worry about anything, because it's especially because Ganesh is the only magical damage. Like Dharmic Pillars hurts, but it's not quite going to be enough sustained damage where they're going to feel pressured into buying magic damage, at least in the early game.
Yeah, that is something definitely got to keep in mind. You gotta expect the sovereignty probably being picked up around here somewhere. And the fact they don't have to worry magical damage means they can just build into more of those, I don't want to say niche items, but those items that we don't get to see much because you feel forced to build other protections. So I'm very curious to see how the tanks, quote tanks, right? Ares is really the only tank, but depending on who we do see in this solo lane, it will be a possibility of like a hybrid. But judging by what we see of the characters lineup, though, it looks like it is going to be a Loki mid, Camazotz solo, and then Alquan a jungle.
I don't hate that. I was almost gonna say Loki mid when you asked me where they would go, but I feel like Camazotz would have been maybe the better choice. But Loki does have some ranged damage to help clear the wave, and a lot of burst potential to kind of jump on the very immobile Marticarus of Killcam Kenny, at least until he gets that ultimate online. So it's not the worst. Plus, I mean, if Killcam Kenny gets dove on by an Ao Kuang and a Loki, gets hit by the Assassinate, and then the Execute is just waiting, what do you do as Marticarus there? You're just gonna get camped if this Warriors of Albion teams decide that's the direction they want to go.
Yeah, I think if I am Royal Jesters, I am predicting that we're going to see a ton of pressure here in this mid lane. I think Kenny's got to kind of keep his wards up, kind of play back a bit more. Maybe not in like the level 1 through 4, because I think Kenny has a much better advantage than Loki does, right? But you did say, mention Loki has that ability to kind of clear from a distance. Not the strongest clear, but enough to kind of make him a little bit safe. And of course, when the level 5 comes around, I mean, what do you do? I mean, beads? Okay, but what if those are down? I guess you can pre-ult, but that's it's not always the most most easiest thing to do. So gonna be very curious to see how the Jesters respond to such a funky comp coming out of the Warriors of Albion.
Especially when you have Kaizo on the Ares who's going to rotate over and hit you with that Ares ult as well, that's going to force your beads or force your ult. It's going to be really, like you said, it's going to be so much pressure onto Killcam Kenny in the early, but I feel like they can play it safe and just survive until the mid to late game. Their more standard draft, the tried and true, might allow them to push us to a game 3 here, but I guess we'll have to wait and find out.
Yeah. All right. The magic. We did it! Past 16 seconds.
Hey.
I want to just give it a round of applause, everybody. We made it. So, thank goodness we can actually have a game to cast. But anyway, clear, pretty standard. I mean, Ares having one of the best clears out of any of the supports. Kind of just gives Warriors Albion a ton of pressure. As oh my goodness, already a possible solo kill, and it will be a solo kill. Ionized with 40 seconds kill onto this Camazotz. Huge start for the tier.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want if you're the Royal Jesters. You're going against a comp that's so weird. Not something you're going to play against often, but if you can start off strong here, even in the solo lane, regardless of where it's at, and just give you that confidence after the game 1 loss to kind of snowball things and start to turn around in your favor.
Yeah, and Camazot's a solo laner who definitely does not like playing from behind. Some solo laners don't mind that too much. Like Amaterasu is a great example, someone who can just reliably clear wave, doesn't really care. She'll bring a lot to this late game. Camazot's, what he brings to the late game is just running at people and being really annoying, and you can't do that if you are behind. ENIs can really reliably push this lead into something. Where's Albion going to be in a tough spot as Gato Griff almost falling here in that mid lane.
Very low indeed, but it looks like Killcam Kenny will be able to make it out as well. Like, well, the pressure in the mid lane that you mentioned definitely coming through here already from the side of the Warriors of Albion, and we're only 2 minutes into the game. It's not a good. It's working out in solo lane, but it's not a good sign here in the mid game anyway. Mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, kind of surprised because I figured, you know, with the clear that Martic, of course, brains, that it would be tough for Warriors Albion to even push Warriors just under the tower like they did. But you know what? I mean, maybe a big misplay happened that we just missed, and it did allow them to kind of take advantage of that. But they seem to be fine. I mean, Gato Griff is completely healed up. Killcam Kenny still pretty good. They're just gonna grab these mid harpies and continue their farm.
We're here in the dual lane. Seems like pressure is going the way of the Warriors at times, but otherwise it's fairly even, which is kind of to be expected when you have a Ganesh on your team. He doesn't really bring a whole lot of that early game pressure. He's more about the peel and the setup for the squad, and he kind of needs a few levels and maybe an item or two before he starts truly coming online and being such a menace from that support role. So I don't mind that the Jesters are kind of, ceding a little bit of pressure here, but they are going to step up to this shield buff.
Oh, no, I don't believe they got it. As Hoi now in a ton of trouble. Well, Enice gets another solo kill on the other side of the map. Hoi dive bombing over the wall, lowering the purple buff away, but being chased by Warriors Albion dual lane. They realize, you know what? They're in a safe spot. Let's just go clear this wave.
Another close call over there in the dual lane, but they do manage to make it out a bit. Could have been more unfortunate if this Hoi was in more trouble to accidentally, land on the purple buff and take a lot of damage from it, but is able to get their own purple buff, which is big with how much pressure the Warriors have managed to get so far in the lane. Making sure that you get your own buffs, you get your own XP is definitely a way to not fall too far behind.
Yeah, I mean, Hoi, yeah, they did buff the base damage on that Ricochet, but it's still not the highest, or fastest, I should say, clearing ability. So Warriors Albion definitely getting the advantage of that, as Bat Out of the Hell coming out used possibly the defensive, like a mix of offense and defensively there to possibly clear away. It looks like he wanted to go in, but kind of realized, I don't think I want to give Enice his third kill of the game already, so I'll just swoop the minions real quick.
Yeah, it looks like Sim is trying to be aggressive in this lane, but it's so hard to out-bully or outdo anything over a tier, especially one to the caliber of Enice, who's just able to kind of control this lane so far. And a tier's always scary, but a tier with a 2-level lead is almost impossible to fight into.
Yeah, we were talking kind of how the mid lane pressures could be, Killcam Kenny's going to have a lot of pressure on him, but with tier being so far ahead, and tier having a great opening to just make an early rotation, I think it's a good bait, right? I think if Killcam Kenny kind of can put himself in a position to make it look like the assassins have an advantage, and then boom, he just shows up, that's gonna spell disaster. So I'm hoping to see this tier make a rotation, seeing as he has a fantastic start at the moment.
Sovereignty is online for Kaizo, so wherever he goes on the map, it should help quite a bit to this 4 physical comp, which is something to keep in mind. If we start seeing some rotations, it'll be harder for them to get through some of the tankiness that this Ares will be able to provide for the rest of the team. They'll need a little bit more online to try and get through all of that, but XE has been completed for Griff to be able to shred away at least some of those prots.
Yeah, I mean, not only is Pen just really strong in general right now in the meta, but I think we're gonna, especially when you have an Ares who's going to be building a lot of this physical defense, and now that Sovereignty is also online for the people around him. Granted, Sovereignty did eat a small nerf in those auras. Pretty much a lot of the aura protection items did. Kind of one of the big common complaints for year 10 so far. So, which is why we are kind of in this different meta for 10.6, where tanks are a bit more bullies, which honestly good for them. It is. I know it feels awful to be a tank, and just to feel like you don't even do your main job, which is to be a tank, right? So,
yeah, I like when tanks can have a good impact on the game. I've enjoyed this 10.6 update quite a bit. I feel like it's shaken things up and the new mechanics are quite fun. And speaking of those, the beacon, you know, we still around 5 minutes away from that spawning, but it looks like there's about 1,000 gold lead in favor of the Jesters, and if they can keep that up, they can start snowballing at the 12-minute mark if they can get an early beacon pull.
Yeah, Beacon, a new addition to this 10.6 update, and something that is very interesting to see how these different teams kind of play around it. Some teams like to send like 4 people there. Some teams only kind of have the bid 3v3 battle it out. I feel like it is also just mostly situational, as Ares just shredding down Griff's health bar. Does utilize the ultimate, will force him the beads or pull him back in. It actually doesn't even beads, but will fall to Kaizo there. Unfortunate. Probably didn't think that the follow-up was there. Excuse me. Words are hard. As Loki losing this fight against Killcam Kenny, but you know what? Who's here to help out is Dashboard. Down goes Killcam Kenny. And that, just like that, where's Albion? Have this opening.
Who kills on the board right off the bat for the Warriors there. That's just Ares thing. Kaizo's lands all his chains, gets the ult, and Griff did not respect the damage that can come out of an Ares, especially with an aura item online to kind of help out with that passive to give more damage from the auras that you have. And then in that mid lane fight, just hard. It's the pressure that we were talking about the Warriors having, but there could be more happening in duo.
Yeah, oh no, and then Hoey using the Suns to try to at least get something in return here, but unfortunately, Kaizo living just barely any health. So he will not see that kill for himself.
I really wonder if Kaizo would have died there had he not been able to get that sovereignty first item, if he'd gone something like the Gauntlet of Thieves that we so often see for supports right off the bat. But because he was able to get kind of a greedier first item because of the 4 fizz on the side of the Jesters, he gets to just stand underneath that tower and eat all of the damage from those suns and walk away freely.
Yeah, I 100% think so. I mean, Thebes, great item when it is stacked, and now that, you know, with the changes to 2.6, it also takes less stacks to get online, which is actually nice. But Sovereignty just gives you those base protections right away. And he actually got a little bit of aura protections from being next to the Hachiman, so I think just the 100% that Sovereignty saved his life. I think any other, or not any other item necessarily, but having the Thebes would have costed him, which... But where's Albion right now? Game state kind of even, due to the fact that Tier just has a great lead in that solo lane, but everywhere else right now, struggling a little bit.
Yeah, I think it really is just Ionized keeping everybody, at least on the graphs, in the game here, because the leads are in favor of the Warriors across the board. Here in the dual lane, it's a 3-level, maybe 2.5-level lead for Batty on the Hachiman, which just is so hard to fight into because it feels impossible to box a Hachiman sometimes, and if he's got that much of a lead over you, there's just really nothing you can do.
Yeah, especially as a Hoey. Hoey, one of the weaker ADCs, which sucks, which really stinks. I love Hoey, and I wish he was stronger, but, you know, he just struggles. His early game, his laning phase is pretty weak, and especially against, like you said, a Hachiman, one of the best hunters in the game right now, and you're 2 levels down. So Hoey just really needs to play this as safe as he possibly can, but it looks like he's actually losing this match up over here in the duo lane, but was able to get out just fine. As Kaizo is just being a bully on the Ares, which what do you expect? It's an Ares.
Just doing those Ares things, walking right past the red buff, almost walking under the tier 1 tower just to get some more damage, but Ionized is here, and he's definitely ahead.
Ionized ahead and showing his face into this fight, but Ares with the big old chain, forcing out the ultimate. Smart, of course, goes up and just spraying on these enemies, but so far nobody is even dying, but Ionized getting grouped up a ton here, and just like that, Dashboard with the execute will take down Ionized, the first kill of the fight. And the fight's, well, I guess it will, looks like it will be over, but the beacon spawning in a minute.
That's a big pick for the Warriors here to get that execute on really the only member of the Royal Jesters who is ahead and probably felt comfortable in the fight, especially right before an objective spawns like the Stygian Beacon. It's definitely going to make it a lot harder for the Jesters to comfortably fight with the beacon spawning in just 30 seconds. Ionized is back up, but I don't know how quickly they'll be able to rotate over to contest it.
Bit of a gank coming out onto this Hachiman. Ultimate is down, but he is able to dash away and get himself to safety. As we see the supports kind of fighting each other a little bit, but that's taking a lot of damage. Man, that fire and those chains, I mean, it's just crazy how much damage Ares does. I feel like people always forget that, you know, this Guardian, quote, can melt your health bar in just mere seconds.
Yeah, even if I go into a game trying to remind myself Ares is gonna hurt, I feel like I'm still caught off guard by just how much damage he can do just simply walking at you. If the Ares is able to hit all of the chains, it seems like Kaizo is completely on point with landing that skill shot.
First beacon of the game going to Albion. Not much contention coming out of Jesters. Nobody was even grouped around it, but two ultimates coming out. They are looking for the pick on the dashboard, and they will get it. Kill Cam Kenny has the beads. The Loki ultimate will be okay. Well, actually, never mind. He gets pulled in by the Ares, but they're not actually too scared. But the rotation from the Hunters making this fight a bit more interesting as Kenny will fall to a Batty Lock, not log, whatever. It's okay. So the fight continues, and Urban trying to get on out of there. And just like that, the fight looks like it is going to end as both teams kind of realizing, you know what, we might not have the damage to continue this.
Yeah, I just don't think Griff is far enough in the build there. I thought maybe the rotation with the Erlang Shed would turn that in the favor of the Royal Jesters, but just has the Executioners and that Archdruid's Fury up. Might not have quite enough yet to really turn fights in the Jesters' favors, but I feel like with how good Erlang Shen is right now, once Griff gets a little bit further, he's only level 11 right now, it's a little bit more itemization under him, those rotations in the future could really help out this Jesters squad, because at the moment, it seems like Kaizo is just a walking raid boss, 1-0-3, second on the damage charts, only behind the solo laner of Ionized.
Which is just crazy, right? I mean, Kaizo's able to walk wherever he wants to go right now, and they don't have much answers. That sovereignty coming in clutch for them right now. Got the Thebes coming up here, almost fully stacked. Pridwin going to be the next target, which means he's going to get that 20% CDR, and of course the new Pridwin glyph gonna just work wonders for when he does use the no escape. They got to be careful, Kaizo. You're not necessarily gonna burn Kaizo, but Kaizo's gonna be so annoying that you're gonna feel forced to target him, because what are you gonna do as like a Hoey or a Marcoris in this situation? If he gets on you, you have to either beads or you're gonna have to ult as a Marcoris to even get away. And it's just from Ares. You have the rest of the team to worry about.
Yeah, I feel like a lot's going to be on Jehu here to use that silence at the right moment to try and stop those chains or stop the fire from spreading across the entirety of the backline of this Royal Jesters squad, because Ganesh does have a decent matchup into the areas. You can completely cancel out those flames and stop quite a bit of the damage coming through, especially if you can get the root onto Kaizo as well. It's going to be on Jehu to try and keep the backliners alive, because as you said, it's going to be hard for them to stay.
Royal Jesters, quote, sneaking away the Pyromancer, but where's Albion? I'm sure knew, and they opt to go for the gold figure, which, in my opinion, probably the more valuable objective in this game. Well, at this point in the game.
Oh yeah, 100%. When you're 15 minutes in, Pyromancer not quite as impactful, gives less golden XP, and the Runic Bomb not as useful, but I think they did use it right off the bat to get that mid-tier 1 tower, so immediately making use of the bomb, but it could be trouble here in the jungle.
Ganesh getting caught out, and unfortunately, when you got two assassins, I should say, and then Ares, like, what are you gonna do? Did throw out the Dharmic Pillars, but wasn't quite enough, as the ADCs are taking on a boxing match, and Upgrade Only actually winning this. It might be enough damage, and it wins. Upgrade Only able to answer back while being 2 levels down.
That is huge for this Royal Jesters ADC to be able to win a 1v1, get the solo kill when you're that far behind. Not only does that give you the gold and the experience, you went up a full level from that fight alone, just confidence-wise and mentals just allows you to feel like you still have a fight in this game and have a chance to come back. So that's going to be really big for Upgrade Only as we continue into the rest of the game, and it could be Ionized, the next one in trouble.
Ionized getting attacked at his own tier 2 tower by an Ares and Kemzats, and Alquan is lurking, has that ultimate available. And Tyr using the ultimate, trying to get away, but just not enough. How are you going to get away from two very mobile characters like that? Tyr ended up falling and will possibly lose his tier 2, but Dark Pillars comes out, and actually the answer back to the Martyr Chorus might be enough into the ultimate, but just not enough damage out of that quite yet, but they don't want to let this go. Well, I said that, but actually they will let this go.
Saving the tier 1, though, definitely not too bad, and Ionize did eat 2 ults, got that Ares ultimate and the Bat Out of Hell from the the Camazots, excuse me, so at least was able to get some cooldowns off the side of the Warriors as another 1v1 in the duel lane takes place here.
Yeah, unfortunately though, Hoi losing this one. Great patience on the dive bomb to avoid the damage coming out of the horse. I forgot what it's called, I'm sorry. But a beautiful stun from Upgrade Only. It said, nah, not today, buddy. And getting another solo kill. Even in out these levels, which is huge.
I mean, Hoi is hard to box. I mean, he's a menace in duel for a reason, but the beacon opens up and we have another fight in mid.
Yeah, they just want to keep brawling, and I appreciate it. I'm down for it. Ultimate coming out of the Marty Chorus. The beacon is not even up quite yet. About to spawn, but now the Royal Jesters are kind of grouped. They are ready for this. Hoi in a little bit away, but the other 4 members are grouped on as they now look at Ganesh as their target. Actually, I lied. They're going to look at Kill Cam Kenny as Cam is not swooping on him with that Bat Out of Hell. Will be enough, but now the rest of the Jesters do not want to let Camazots go away that easily, and they won't. Upgrade Only on the killing spree. Beacon being slightly captured here by Warriors of Albion, though, but now with that pick. Oh, actually, I guess both have their picks. The Hot Shimon is back up. This is going to be another big fight. Dharma Pillars are back up as well to help provide a zoning tool if needed, and there they are. We're on 3 of them, but the health bars of the Jesters are going down so fast. I don't know if they're able to turn this around necessarily. Suns come out, but it's not enough. Alquan getting the kill onto Ionize. They just really want the beacon. Come on, the execute coming out of Alquan was shut down. Or sorry, not shut down, excuse me. Get a kill on to Gatto Griff, and they will not.
It's so hard to stand up to just the raw damage coming of this Warrior squad. That health bars just melted for merely trying to stand anywhere close to the beacon. Griff rotates in, unable to find any sort of return damage, and eats that execute. This is all... It seems like Upgrade Only is the only one really able to turn things around in the Jester's favor. He's going to have to keep doing so as that Primal Fury gets dropped for the Warriors of Albion after that Stygian Beacon, and it's extending their gold lead even further.
Yeah, unfortunately, Jesters were starting to, had a really good start with this tier, getting 2 solo kills in that lane, and then kind of had a rough patch, but then started getting a few more kills. Hoi specifically getting on that killing spree. And just like that, though, they are losing these objectives. They did get the Pyromancer, but they lost both Furies. They didn't get either Beacon yet. And they are now 4,000 gold behind. And not a good look at all for the Jesters.
A good leap out of Upgrade Only there to make sure that they don't get chained. And this Hoi is just swinging at the moment. We'll back and finish off that Odie bow to have that. It looks like Pyromancer might be the call for the Jesters again. With double ADC comps, they should be able to burn any objective they want to look at.
Yeah, but they're not going to let it go for free, but they at least do secure it. As I'm specified, trying to be cheeky, get that there with the Camazots 1, but not enough.
It's good that they managed to pick that up. They do have another bomb now. They already used their first one to get the tier 1 tower in mid, so maybe they'll be able to find another structure here relatively quickly. Otherwise, Ionize will not be able to pick up any wards with his pockets already full. And vision is so important, especially now that we're at the 21-minute mark. Fire Giant starts to become something that can be on the minds of both of these teams. You get a couple picks, could be on the table to help snowball the lead if you're the Warriors, or as like a sort of comeback mechanic if you're the Jesters.
Absolutely. Gatto Griff trying to get this bat out of this lane. Realize he's very annoying, but get Tawny back in. Actually doing a ton of damage on the Camazots. He does have the bat on the hell if he needs it. Dark Pillar comes out. tries to block his way, but you can't block a bat that was in the air. Does force out the ultimate, though. But they're not able to continue that chase. But on the other side of the map, though, Hobie and Hachiman fighting once again, but unfortunately, Alquan's here to interrupt the 1v1. And Hachiman will get credit for that kill.
Dashboard not respecting the 1v1 as the fight continues over here. Ianai's just knocking up. I don't exactly know what they're fighting over. Fury's down. Seems like they just want to scrap for the sake of scrapping.
I mean, yeah, Warriors Albion do have that 5k gold lead, so I guess they're trying to maybe, you know, do a damage check possibly? I'm not sure. I agree it's a little strange, because right now Fire Giant the only objective on the map. I mean, I guess you could play around trying to get a tier 2 tower, but you don't, I mean, to force an unnecessary fight feels a little silly. But that's just how this Warriors Albion team likes to play. They are very scrappy. You know, from my one game I've casted them, and just from what I know about these players, they are very, they like to take the fight. They don't want to take the slow and methodical route. They want to make sure that you have a death timer, like one death timer's on the other team at all times. That's how they want to play these games.
Well, it's working out for them here so far. They've went up in game 1. They're in the lead here in game 2. But for the Jesters, could be trouble for Killcam Kenny as he's just trying to secure his red buff.
No, trying to secure it is right, but what do you do when you got all of these assassins chasing you down?
What a taunt!
But a beautiful taunt will save his life for a little bit longer, but unfortunately can't avoid the venom out of the Loki. And like I said, the tier 2 towers we're fighting over, but you know what? They'll take the fight anyway. One more kill going to the way of Juan. And just like that, 2 members of Jesters fall. They might be looking for this tower, but they could back up and go for 5 if they truly wanted.
Low health bar for Kaizo will slow down their ability to do anything that they want to do, and he will back at the moment. But only Kaizo was the one that got low, and this Gold Fury has respawned. It seems like the Warriors will take that without any issue, absolutely melting it. I was trying to say before more scrapping continued once again that Griff, that damage check we saw on to Specify's Kamazots kind of shows that this Erlang Sheng might be online, but it could be upgrade only in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, gets into the leap, but unfortunately, great patience from Dashboard, able to just hold that water illusion. And on the other side of the map, though, Warriors Albion holding this Fire Giant. Ianize is heading this way, but with the burst that they have, he might not be able to get there in time. He's here, but just a tad too late in the cripple from the Ares, making sure he can't even dash in or away if he wanted to. Fantastic, as the takes are here trying to make sure that they at least get out alive. Killcam Kenny, though, left alone in this mid-tier 2. But where's the Albion decide to at least let him live for now?
It seems out of nowhere. This is almost an 8,000 gold lead with that Pyromancer picked up. Should push it closer to 9k in the lead for the Warriors of Albion, which is just so hard to fight against if you're the Royal Jesters. You're also 11,000 experience behind, which means less and less the further we get into this game. But it's just, it's so difficult to take any sort of fight. You have to have that 6th man of your tower or your Phoenix to have any sort of hope to try and win these fights, because it seems like the Warriors are just death balling and able to just put pressure anywhere on the map that they so choose.
Yeah, and Jesters just do not have that answer right now, which is a bummer. And like I mentioned during the picks and bans, I mean, this is like I said, a bit of a cheesy comp. I mean, a ton of dive coming out from the Warriors of Albion. I mean, 3 assassins, and I know I've been calling Alquan assassin. I get he's technically a mage, but let's be real, he's just a mental assassin. Yeah, exactly. Like what do you do? And we're seeing that they're struggling to have an answer for it. It's just there's just so much getting dove on, and even though Ganesh, you know, I think being a god who has decent peel, just not able to provide what's needed. But the fight breaks out, and they are fighting them outside of their tower. They said, we'll take this fight as Kaizo finally will fall here. Gattlegriff getting credit for that kill, but got super low and has to back up. The Titans are now unleashed, and SF Specify waiting here, looking to maybe finish the job on to Gattlegriff, but not. Oh, he's still lurking though. But Ian I's keeping a good eye on him, making sure that he's not gonna freely be able to get in. But here comes the Alquan, looking for something. Dive bomb comes on out. Alquan uses the beads and he gets the execute, but gets the beads out of Hui instead. Actually, it might fall to the Suns. They will trade, but Upgrade will happily take that, getting the shutdown bonus and taking the fire off of the Alquan. And just like that, words Albion are just kind of trolling, if I'm going to be honest, throwing away a lot of their lives. Just, I mean, and not getting much in return. But
yeah, seems like they won't be able to get too much more after losing out on dashboard there. The entire time that fight was happening, Moon Jumping was just doing the cringe Loki split push that we've seen since the beginning of Smite. But now it could be trouble as Griff is on the chase here. This Erlang Shen is definitely online, gets the taunt in onto the Camazotz, but can't finish the kill.
Unfortunate, Eon Eyes just falling short of that Lawbringer, so Camazotz lives to see another day, but you know who doesn't is Gato Griff, who falls to Moon Jumping, and the fight continues. Dark Pillars comes out to help try to zone out, but unfortunately there are two assassins. Well, sorry. Assassin and Kaizo Capture, who gets a no escape, holds it 2, and massive damage coming out. One kill going to the way of the Hachiman. Make that another kill going to the way of Upgrade only, who at least gets Kaizo down, their tank dead, meaning these birds might not be an option at the moment.
This is so crazy. It feels like the Warriors should be able to just walk in and take whatever they want. These Royal Jesters are putting up quite a defense. They're having to trade out their lives for it, but they're keeping their birds alive. I don't know about stepping out towards this tier 2 though.
Yeah, does get the Suns, but Bat Out of Hell saves them from any Suns that Hobie will brain, and that's not to specify. Getting credit for the kill, and the Titan push it into that Phoenix room while Ian Eyes trying to save the right bird. Will get the kill on the dashboard, but will the bird's life as well, and the Titan just melting that Phoenix down. Royal Jesters having no answer for it, and it is pushing all the way into the Titan room. You are in the wrong throne room, sir. But they will at least drive the Chaos Titan back to where it came.
Unfortunate there for the Royal Jesters. They do end up losing 2 Phoenixes on the back end. It was a good defense at the beginning there. They were trading out lives to make sure their structures stayed up and standing. Even got the pick onto dashboard, but the pressure was just too much. There was a split coming out of the Warriors of Albion, and they had that Titan having gotten all the beacons as well. They just had all that extra structure damage. I mean, the Primal Fury on the back end, just kind of the cherry on top of that engagement. Is going to be so hard for the Jesters to defend both their Phoenix in left and right, as well as stepping up to a Fire Giant that should be enhanced before the Warriors pick it up.
Yeah, we're definitely probably going to look at this, pick this up, and unfortunately, Jesters don't have a good opportunity to really get in there. I mean, their steal potential is pretty limited. I guess Dharmic Pillars is a decent, steal potential. He could also Mark Coruscant, but both of those require you to be within fair proximity to it, which I don't think either one really wants to, from how hard these players have been getting picked on by the triple assassins going on here. So I don't know. This is really tricky for the Jesters.
Yeah, there's one world where you try to Hail Mary and take the fight in the Fire Giant pit, but it seems like the Jesters are going to play it safe and back up towards their base as Fire Giant goes the way of the Warriors without any contention. And that could just seal the deal here, unless the Jesters can find a miracle pick.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those situations where, in my opinion, I think you cannot let them just get into the throne room. If you do, I think you just kind of lose. I think we need to see the Jesters kind of look to maybe take a fight outside of it if they possibly can, because all you got left is this mid-bird, and that mid-bird is not going to survive, especially when there's one bomb left on the Camazotz, but the fight is breaking out. Camazotz onto 3 of them, being super annoying, but they are still living. Marty Chorus goes into the ultimate to try to stay alive, and will stay alive, but you know what's not staying alive is that mid-bird, which will fall to the Warriors of Albion. But on the right side of the map, actually, woo, good pickup here by Upgrade only. Moon Jumping will end up falling on down. But Dashboard getting a pick of his own. That's a 2-for-1 trade so far as Killcam Kenny at least answering back. They are trying to keep this game alive, and they're doing their best, but fall now as this Hachiman is 6-2 and 8 playing super well. As SF specified gets kill cam Kenny. That is 4 members down. All that is left is this Ganesh. Never mind, he is dead. That is a triple kill for this Hachiman. And then the set going to the way of Warriors of Albion.
There were moments there where it looked like the Jesters had that defense. You can see how low the health bars are on the side of the Warriors, but there's just so much damage coming out of Triple Assassin, Hachiman, and even Ares. That Kaizo was just pumping out damage with those chains, with those flames, and it was just too much for the Jesters to stand against. Put up a great defense, but will end up falling here in game 2.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like there was some hope, but kind of surprised. I mean, like I said, fortunately, we didn't get to see all of game 1 due to the technical difficulties. We did get to tune into the stream later, and it looks like Jesters had a pretty good start to their game, and then all of a sudden, like those the late game team fights didn't go their way. But this game, besides the start, besides the 2 little like laning phase moments between with the Unites and upgrade only, there wasn't really a moment where Jesters had any kind of control.
No, I mean, the dive pressure that we mentioned earlier onto kill cam Kenny on the Marticarus was just non-stop. He never quite had a chance to feel comfortable in the match. Griff wasn't able to get anything going on that Erlang Shen, which was unfortunate. And it's just, so much team cohesion coming out of this Warriors squad. I feel like they started deathballing in the early game and never really stopped, just walked around as a 4 or 5 man death squad, killing anything in their path.
Yeah. Great attempt from Jesters, though. Unfortunately, they will continue this losing streak, being 0-4, but they still got 3 more weeks before we get into the playoff play-ins. So to kind of figure out, remember, you can go 0-7 in regular season and still win the playoffs. It is the thing that I have almost seen happen. I have seen the last seeded team get to grand finals. So you know what? If you are on that squad, I wouldn't, don't count yourselves out yet. Just kind of dissect some of the issues, maybe work on them, and I think they'll be in a good spot. Like I said at the beginning of this cast, they are fantastic players. They're just something missing with their team synergy. But Warriors of Albion continuing on to being a very, like I said, I want to use the word funky. Funky team, because they play very strange comps, and for those who don't know, these are all like buddies, and they purposely drafted a friend team. And some of these people have barely played comp. Some of these are just kind of ranked demons, but they are transferring their ranked knowledge into comp very well, especially with such veteran players such as Kaizocaster. So, but with that all being said, that will be it from us today. Thank you all for joining us, and I am going to double check to see, because I always forget. Okay, we have Doing Okay in Far Out Sparta Division coming on here in just about an hour, I believe. Yep, at 6 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you tune in for that, because Dr. Shu will actually be there, and he is awesome. So
indeed, thanks.
Yeah, of course, man. But that'll be it from us. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and we'll see you guys later.
Peace.